Welcome to Besiege Boss, the real home of robotic combat in Besiege. In this episode, we will perform the final thinning of the field to decide which 4 featherweights will compete for a podium finish. First up is the match between the always strong Team Archaon looking to make it 2 for 2 and get both of their bots through to the top 4. They take on Team Outcast Robotics, who rebuilt their old Flipper bot and have had a strong showing thus far. In the main event for this episode, we'll feature a battle between Wasted 3, a bot that has been tearing through the competition thus far, and last year's champion, Dippii, who will be looking to keep the dream of back-to-back featherweight titles intact. Bluebird has had a solid run through the tournament, taking out several veteran teams without too much trouble. In this match, Outcast Robotics will look to try and break through to contender status by taking down the monolithic Team Archaon. Zap has looked incredibly dominant to this point in the competition, having not even fought a full match's worth of minutes in their 2 wins totaling 3 minutes 41 seconds. Team Archaon already have 1 bot through to the top 4 and will be looking to continue that momentum for a chance to be the first team to win 2 crowns in a single tournament. And we are underway with fight number 1 of episode 14 and the quarterfinals for the featherweight bracket, with the always perennial contenders Team Archaon with Zap taking on Outcast Robotics, who I think this might be their best placing in a tournament thus far, even just making it to top 8, but obviously they're going to look to go further. Zap seems to have the better wedge here early. They seem to be getting under Bluebird and able to get some nice flips. Oh, they flipped one of the blades off of Bluebird and some of the flying blocks that help keep the bot from bouncing around so the wedge stays more still. That's going to make it even harder for them now, wedge, but they actually do it there and they flip Zap over. Zap self-rights. It was a bit of a weird self-right. They flipped around several times, but... oh, near the pit now. Neither bot can get the flip. Oh, Zap get a nice flip there. They're away from the pit now. They're pushing Bluebird over toward the other pit. There's a missed flip from Team Archaon. Bluebird sort of gets a partial flip. Bluebird gets under a big flip. Ooh, Zap goes near the pit but doesn't go in. Like, ooh, they were on the wall there. Bluebird struggling to self-right. Zap misses a flip. Bluebird's flipper seems to be stuck in the upright position. Oh, they flipped it down there. Oh, Zap is juggling them right now. They managed to land. They're back down. Bit of a partial flip. Didn't really flip Zap all that much. Zap does have a good amount of downforce, so it is quite hard to flip at the best of times. And also because it's so wide. Well, not wide necessarily, but so low and well spaced out, it's hard to kind of flip it. Bluebird getting juggled again by Zap. Very good driving from Team Archaon. When they get these advantages, they really are punishing Outcast Robotics. Because Outcast Robotics has had maybe some better flips, but they're coming few and far between. Ooh, Zap underneath. Just following Bluebird around, trying to time the landings and continue flipping. Zap is under, but misses a flip. Bluebird gets partial flip there. Zap misses the flip, and their flipper arm got stuck. But Bluebird tried to flip the flipper arm, which doesn't really work. Zap with another good flip, and a good throw, and another juggle off the wall. They catch them again. That was about 4 flips. There's a 5th. Bluebird finally recovers, but immediately gets flipped again. This has been about 7 flips. 8. Oh, and they miss one. Oh, they dropped the combo. Well, there's 9. Can they go for 10? Oh, that's 10. They did drop one. 11. Wow, they are just tossing Bluebird around. Bluebird hasn't been able to land for a while. There it goes. Finally manages to land and gets flipped again. That was like a There's been about 12 flips in a row, like 13 now, I think. For Zap, 14. Without Bluebird having been able to get a single flip of its own. Very close to the pit, but they don't just miss it. There's about 16 flips. I'm still counting. Wow, this has really gone poorly quickly for Bluebird. That's 17. We'll see how many in a row they can get. Oh, they miss one. The Bluebird misses. And that's time. Ooh, I think that one's gonna go to Zap. And it does. Control, damage, aggression. Style goes to Bluebird, probably because of all the self-riding. But ultimately, Zap wins the decision. And Bluebird is eliminated while Zap moves on to the top 4. Croc and Awe have had a solid showing thus far through the tournament, displaying great driving ability, especially for a rookie team. The Hydra Initiative face a tough test against the Hammer of Tamale here, but with a win could see them place top 4 in their first ever tournament. Tamale III had an unfortunate opening to the tournament after throwing themselves over the arena wall, but have bounced back with some solid wins over low amounts of patriotism in LI3. In this match, they will look to show the same level of restraint as in those fights and decimate another opponent. And here we go with fight number 2. We have the newcomer team, the Hydra Initiative, taking on Team Questionable Engineering. Team Questionable Engineering are a team that have been around for about a year now, and when doing extra research for this fight, I did realize they've been in 3 tournaments, and of those 3 tournaments, they've made the top 4 on 2 out of 3 occasions. They also knocked that wheel off on a very early hit on Croc and Awe. It's definitely a good early start for Tamale. If they can remove the other one, I think they might be able to KO Croc and Awe. I'm not sure. Oh no, it does have small backup wheels on the inside, but who knows how well it can drive on them. Good early hits from Tamale. They're showing that controlled power that they've been showing for the last few fights. They get a big chunk out of Croc and Awe there. It looks like some steering hinges, perhaps. I'm not sure entirely what broke out. It looks like mostly some steering hinges, possibly a spinning block or something, which are pretty hard to break. So Tamale definitely having a good start here. Croc and Awe got a little bit of control there. They did a nice job. It's very hard to control a hammer bot. So this was already going to be a tough matchup for Croc and Awe. But, oh, and Tamale go up and over the wall! Oh my goodness, Croc and Awe wins by Uda and moves on to the top 4. Team Questionable Engineering are going to be kicking themselves. They're now eliminated from Spring Bash Cup. Wow. Poison Water was having a rough time in its last fight, dealing with the ever-explosive Krakatoa, but managed to get the win as Krakatoa's weapon bar exploded, leading to a KO. In this fight, they face a similar horizontal bar spinner in War Games and will be looking to prove that last win wasn't a fluke. War Games has looked good so far in the tournament, winning a strong decision in its rumble and tearing apart Sensory Overload for a KO. Team Locrian lost their chance at a top 4 in the lightweight bracket in the last episode and will be hungry to avenge that loss here by taking out the newcomers Team Dangerous Purposes. And fight number 3 is underway now. We got War Games from Team Locrian, who had Mint Chocolate eliminated in the lightweight bracket in the last episode. So they're definitely looking to make top 4 here to still have a shot at getting an SBC crown. Not the lightweight one that they previously held, but potentially going to be able to get the featherweight one. They're taking on the other rookie team, who also made it to the top 8, have been pretty lucky so far through the tournament, winning a pretty close, controversial decision, and then obviously Krakatoa's weapon bar exploded, which led to Team Dangerous Purposes winning that one. They have a pretty similar bot in War Games. It's a bit more balanced than Krakatoa though, so a bit less likely to ping-pong itself around. It's also got a heavier base. War Games definitely getting the better of these exchanges early. Poison Water still having trouble determining that spin direction. And War Games does keep changing it up, which is a smart strategy. Obviously in, you know, real combat robotics, you can't change spin direction, but due to the way Besiege physics work, you can. With essentially no penalty, and so far Team Lockreed have been doing a good job of it by switching the spin direction so that Team Dangerous Purposes can't figure out which edge is the leading edge of the spinner. They got it there, but they're still not throwing War Games up very much because War Games has downforce on the chassis, which makes it actually quite hard to pop up into the air. And it's just getting the better of pretty much every hit. Yeah, you can see the weapon mount is also split on one side of Poison Water. I'm pretty sure the motor's intact. Yeah, it definitely is, because the weapon's still spinning. Yeah, the motor's still fully intact, but the weapon mount is broken from eating so many hits. It seems like perhaps the chassis has been weakened in some way. I'm not really sure. War Games just closing in. Poison Water tries to get some distance so they can spin up and try and guess the spin direction. They got the right spin direction there, but they actually end up losing a wheel regardless. That's quite unfortunate. Goes to show even when you do the right thing, sometimes it doesn't work out for you. And War Games hits them. War Games gets flipped over. They do have a self-righting... They do have the ability to self-right, but they're struggling. Oh, and they're starting to panic. They're just turning the spinner on. I think they've been counted out. Wow, Dangerous Purposes get away with another one. War Games flips itself over and gets KO'd because it can't self-right. Poison Water the semifinals, War Games eliminated. Last year's champion Dippii has had a good run through the tournament, taking a hard-fought decision in their rumble and dominating last year's third-place finisher Untitled Disaster. In this fight, they take on the very dangerous Wasted 3 and will look to use a similar strategy from their previous outing to get back in the top 4 for another year. Wasted 3 has had an excellent run in this year's tournament, taking out the third-place finisher in the prelims and quickly dispatching last year's runner-up in the round of 16. In this fight, they take on last year's champion Dippii and look to take the scalps of all of last year's podium winners with a shot at taking this year's crown for themselves. And here we go with the main event for the quarterfinals of the featherweight bracket. Last year's champion Dippii taking on Wasted 3. Wasted 3 avenged their loss to Tilted Disaster, which I've mentioned a couple times from last year, who finished third. Dippii then went on to eliminate them in the round of 16. And they also, Wasted eliminated Cool Boy, who was last year's runner-up in the round of 16, and now they face last year's champion. So they're definitely trying to get last year's Spring Bash Cup off their back by taking out all 3 podium finishers if they can win this one. While Dippii obviously trying to maintain the crown and, you know, say, hey, I'm the champ for a reason. So far, good hits from Wasted, but Dippii is also doing a good job keeping the wedge being hit. Oh, they take a little hit to the back there, but it didn't do too much as Wasted had only just spun up. Oh, the flipper kind of bounced up a bit there. I don't think it was fired. Some glancing hits. That was a bigger one, but again, it's to that flipper arm, which is pretty sturdy on Dippii. That front armor is reasonably sturdy on Dippii. It's definitely not close to invincible, but it's pretty sturdy. Ooh, Dippii gets a nice flip on Wasted and breaks off that flying block that sits underneath the weapon to kind of help Wasted not bounce up so much. Dippii manages to flip back over fast enough. to not take too much damage, which is a big risk in this one. If they don't flip back over quickly, if they get flipped, then they could end up eating a huge hit. Oh, and Wasted kind of hooks behind the armor because they rode up the weapon and take a wheel off of Dippii. It should still be driving fine because it has another wheel on that side. I think Dippii may also have lost a flying block in that exchange as well. Which isn't great. It means they're going to get bounced up more on these hits. Oh, Dippii knocks Wasted away there by charging them. Yeah, that's what... Dippii's not the fastest bot, which is a bit of a shame, because if it was, it probably could bounce Wasted off harder and cause more self-damage. There's a nice flip toward the pit. Oh, and they mistime the flip and they lose that wheel stack. Actually, no, it was just that one... Was it just the one wheel that was still left on that side? Yeah, they've still got the wheel stack on the other side. So now they're going to have to crab walk. Which is what it's called when you only have drive on one side. They call it crab walking. They managed to flip Wasted over there, so Dippii showing they're still in this. Even if they've got a crab walk, they're still in it. Wasted pings off the wall. They change spin direction to try and slam into Dippii a bit harder. Yeah, they're spinning on... they're spinning counterclockwise so they can try and hit Dippii's remaining wheel stack. Dippii gets back up quickly, which is good. Wasted throws Dippii around. Wasted do tend to keep the bar off while they're just driving around, because it can cause some gyro forces, which can cause the bot to flip over when they try and turn. So they tend to turn it on right before they're going to make contact, which has been working for them thus far, as they hit another good shot on Dippii. Dippii closing down the space, trying to get them near the pit, but can't. And that's time. We'll see how the judges saw that one. Control slightly in favor of Dippii, but aggression and damage go to Wasted, and Wasted wins a 25-20 decision, completing their run-through of the top 3 from last year's Spring Bash Cup. They move on to the semifinals while last year's champion is eliminated. That's it for this episode. Our 4 bots heading into the semifinals are Zap, Croc and Awe, Poison Water, and Wasted 3. Unfortunately, we also have to say goodbye to Bluebird, Tamale III, War Games, and last year's champion Dippii. The next episode will be the penultimate episode of this year's Spring Bash Cup and will feature the semi-finals from both the lightweight and featherweight brackets. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing. If you're interested in joining our community, follow the Discord link in the description. From everyone in the Besiege Bots Discord, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you soon.